You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Let's go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray. Jackie Ray, good evening.
Good evening. Good to see you.
I could not wait to get to this story. We talked a lot about Caitlin Clark, but also her fans. Her fans are very fickle. We've talked about how their fans may not actually be WNBA fans. They may not even be basketball fans. Because just in case, I know you know, but just in case someone listening may not know, Caitlin Clark has received a lot of pushback because she dared to like the Taylor Swift post of endorsement of Kamala Harris. Caitlin Clark, who has never said anything publicly about her politics, she has said nothing about whether she's a Democrat. She has said that she is a self-confirmed Swiftie. Now, she received all sorts of hate. And I want to make a distinction between online hate and actual hate as far as politicians and so forth, or even political commentators. But she received a lot of hate online. What did you make of that?
So I've been on record. You can listen to my podcast, go to any of my social medias. I've been on record saying that I am not a fan of Caitlin Clark because I like players that are complete from head to toe. I know you have said, well, Jackie, she's young, give her time. She might develop into that. So I was interested to see how she would handle the flip side of it, because like you said, she liked the post. She was asked about that.
Caitlin, you liked an Instagram post last night from Taylor Swift that got a lot of attention. And I'm just curious if you could tell us what that post meant to you, and if you are, in fact, potentially going to endorse Kamala Harris. Thank you.
I think for myself is, I have this amazing platform, so I think the biggest thing would be just encourage people to register to vote. I think for myself, this is the second time I can vote in an election. At age 22, I could vote when I was 18. So I think do that. That's the biggest thing I can do with the platform that I have. And that's the same thing Taylor did. And I think continue to educate yourself with the candidates that we have, the policies that they're supporting. I think that's the biggest thing you can do. And that's what I would recommend to every single person that has that opportunity in our country.
Didn't go into anything about her policies or anything like that. Caitlin has been very calculated on not saying much about anything. But when you see, I saw one person post, well, I don't want to say one person because it was hundreds of people say, hey, you know what? We liked you because you seemed like you were one of us. What does that mean? And then the other one said, we liked you because you didn't seem like you were part of woke culture, and now you've turned your back on us. And one person even said, I only watched because of you because you seem like you were part of, again, one of us. So there was a definite distinction. And I think it's really, I don't know if I want to say concerning, because at this point it's not. At this point I'm used to it. I get it. Like, I'm not going to associate on a personal level with someone who dives headfirst into the policies of the former president. So I get wanting to separate yourself personally, but attacking somebody online when you're not going to change their mind and they're a kid, basically, is very odd to me.
It's not odd to me. I think it's just unfortunate, if only because Caitlin Clark, and I'm not going to have her be 30 years old. I'm not going to expect her to have a degree of composure or wisdom of a 30-year-old person. She's trying to navigate her personal life, her professional career, and all this other stuff completely unrelated to it. I'm not going to hold her to some unrealistic standard. I am more amazed that the Caitlin Clark fans don't realize they're telling on themselves, that they liked her for reasons really having nothing to do with basketball.
Right.
They wanted her to represent a viewpoint that had nothing to do with basketball. And they were rooting against Angel Reese for reasons that had nothing to do with basketball. But I am sympathetic to Caitlin Clark because, as far as I can see, for the most part, she's just going out there and balling out. Playing very well. But this is just something which I think highlights the problem I think we have in society, where if we like the person, we expect them to view the world as we do. And if they don't view the world as we do, then we must dislike that person. And also you have those people who think that, well, you should just shut up and dribble. You should just shut up and play basketball. No, they are people with fully formed personalities and views of the world. And they also play basketball. And see, the thing is, what I don't understand is you're going to be mad at Caitlin Clark for liking a post and tell her to shut up and dribble, but then you don't have a problem with Kid Rock or Hulk Hogan. I mean, it's entertainment of a different kind. I mean, the hypocrisy is very, very self-evident.
I feel like people think that their views are okay. You're putting your ideology onto someone and you've never even had a conversation with this person face to face. That's the weird part to me. This person has been calculated and not saying anything. So you look crazy assuming that they think like you think when they've never said anything of the sort.
Well, now
you just look foolish.
Yeah, well, now not only do you look crazy, I think the optics of Caitlin Clark not being African American, coming from Iowa, University of Iowa, and also playing the game at such a high level and having this worldwide acclaim, I think it made it very easy for people to buy into that misconception. And that's on them, right. Because when we talked about Caitlin Clark, we were just talking about whether she could ball or whether she couldn't ball. And the understanding that there was going to be, and there has been, this adjustment period. People put this other stuff on top of her, that she was somehow something that she was not. Now, I think the lesson here is, and not that people are going to learn it, the lesson here is these folks just play basketball. You don't know necessarily what they believe, what they want to believe or not. She said that she was a Swiftie. She didn't say anything else about what she supposedly liked or not. So, if you put your hand in and you got burned, that's on you.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is such a weird time to all of a sudden be on her back because she liked a post. Because what I think people, if they were real fans, what they'd be applauding right now is the lack of chemistry the Indiana Fever had when she joined the team. And now you would think that they're having sleepovers every night because they are gelling so well. They're all playing their roles so well. She is one of the leaders in that. I think she recognized that people were just kind of figuring out what she was going to do. And she's been the caveat in saying, no, we are a team. There are so many things that you could be applauding her as far as the evolution of her game in a very short period of time. Who cares what she liked?
Well, the problem is these aren't actual basketball fans. These are not actual WNBA fans. To your point, they should be ecstatic about how the Fever is doing. They should be ecstatic about how the league is doing. They should be ecstatic about what Caitlin Clark has been bringing to basketball more broadly, the broadening of the conversations as far as where we're talking about the WNBA. But instead, these same fans, again, air quotes, because I don't believe they were ever fans, were more concerned about her liking a post of Taylor Swift when she is a confirmed Swiftie. Yep. And they say, keep politics out of my sports. Well, she's liking Taylor Swift. She is not making a public statement about, I am endorsing Kamala Harris. If she did that, I would be more inclined to say, okay, now she's bringing her politics into sport. She's liking a post by Taylor Swift.
I tell people all the time, politics affect people. Newsflash, basketball players are people.
They're going to have a very uncomfortable few months. That's all I know. Because you did this to yourselves. You're making yourselves angry. She didn't betray you. You just didn't ask her the right question.
Yep.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And when we come back, I heard that measles have been eradicated. In fact, I know it was eradicated as of the year 2000. We'll talk about that later in the show. But also, did you hear about the college football game, which was canceled over the weekend due to whooping cough exposure? Someone told me it was 2024, but I guess they lied.
Ooh, Later with Mo Kelly on KFI AM 640.
KFI Mo Kelly live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We're continuing to go beyond the box score. And let's talk about this. College football. Portland State canceled its week 3 meeting with South Dakota because of an outbreak of whooping cough within the football program. I didn't know that whooping cough was still a thing. But if you combine that with vaccine deniers, if you combine that with vaccine hesitancy, as they call it, or skepticism, yeah, it makes sense. Polio's made a comeback. Measles has made a comeback. Now, whooping cough has made a comeback. Why, Jackie Ray? Why?
I'm so confused by this because unless times have changed, when I was a kid, you could be a vaccine denier all you wanted, but if you were going to play sports, you had to be vaccinated against everything. So when I saw this, I was like, have times changed? How in the world did this happen? Unless whooping cough got stronger.
I think there are a number of answers, real answers. One, I believe the rise in homeschooling has allowed children to circumnavigate certain vaccine requirements. Two, I believe school districts in certain states have pulled away and pulled back from vaccine requirements. And this is how we end up here. We have to deal with these thought to be eradicated diseases that we have vaccines that have been around for decades, but we're letting our politics get in the way of our good sense. Now, here's how I think we can turn the tide. Bad things, unfortunately, are going to happen. Like this game getting canceled, I think people are going to have to see the real world consequences of lack of vaccination of children, young adults. They have to lose football games. They may even have to lose lives. You can't have stadiums canceling football games. That's loss of millions of dollars of revenue. You know, that's going to change all of this eventually.
Yeah, I've said that a lot for a long time. I've said when people have trepidation about vaccines, don't get me wrong, when you really look into our big pharma system, I get any kind of trepidation. But when you also look at the stuff we were dying from before that we're not dying from now, I think there should be like some sort of, and this is just my 2 cents, take it or leave it. I do think that sometimes they push too many vaccines into us at once. Maybe space it out a little bit. So
Say that again. Say that again, because there is nuance in this conversation. Say that again.
I think they push a lot of vaccines into us at one time. I think spread that out a little bit, give your body a little bit of space to make sure it handles everything right. But I still think there's conversations because, like it or not, there's things that we should not be dying from. There's things that should not cause an outbreak on an entire team. Whooping cough is one of them. And on top of that, I think that if you are, for whatever reason, if you are one of the reasons why these diseases and these things that should be gone are making a comeback, there should be consequences. So personally, I think that it's Portland that got the whooping cough, right? So Portland should have to pay at least for the chartered flights and things of that nature, because the other school had to pay for all that. And because you didn't do your due diligence, now we're out of money.
Right. And there's no clarity on whether the game is going to be rescheduled. That may be just done and gone, but I think that is an answer to it. You know, the team which is responsible for the outbreak, because HIPAA will never know who or why or exactly, but we know what team or program is responsible, and that university should be held responsible for the lost revenue, because football, regardless of whether it's Division I, Division II, big money. Big money. And a lot of these games are still televised locally.
And fans plan around that. Fans who might have had to work that day took the day off so they could go see their favorite team, and now you got whooping cough. It's funny, but it's not funny, because yes, you do have to take these precautions, but Portland also could have been more diligent in saying, hey, there's one person on our team that has this disease that shouldn't be around. We have to cancel this game. That's
the real question, because when you say outbreak, it's like, was there one, and did you not report it thinking that it might be okay, and then it became out of control because you tried to hide it, or was it something else? Yeah, that's the thing that I think we won't ever know. But big picture, when we talk about vaccine hesitancy and skepticism, I think the only way we'll get back to where we were, saying nothing of the COVID vaccines. And messenger RNA, okay? Saying nothing of that. The only way we can get back to where we were, unfortunately, is if people understand the consequences of what we're not doing right now, not taking care of business. We will have to lose stuff. We may have to lose people. We may have to lose revenue for people to realize, hey, it is not in our collective best interests to keep going down this path.
But that's how vaccines were easily distributed before, is because people saw so many people kept dying from it. So it's easy to say to people, if you don't want to die from this, you have to take this. But now we've got so many different opinions and we haven't seen massive deaths. I'm still surprised that the massive deaths we saw from COVID hasn't struck that chord. But for whatever reason, people still think it's a strong flu. That's literally still the narrative around COVID. But once something really does take out massive lives, then I think people will be more open to protecting not only themselves, but the people around them and their children.
Or elderly.
I mean, just care about your common man. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, we haven't done that for quite some time. So
True.
Look, if COVID didn't do it, this ain't going to do it.
Facts.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
I remember growing up, and I was maybe 3 or 4 years old, and I hated going to the doctor. Hated because I was really afraid of needles. Hated it. And for whatever reason, when we went to the doctor, that meant I was getting some sort of shot. Too young to know what. I just knew that it was a needle and it was going to go in my arm. I wasn't going to like it. It was going to hurt. And I thought if I cried enough, then maybe the doctor would leave me alone. For whatever reason, it never worked. Not once. Screaming bloody murder. Still had the shot. Now, what I didn't understand was it was a part of my just routine vaccination schedule, just so I could go to school. Because back in the early 1970s, it was a big deal because of the generation just before us having to deal with polio and other diseases. Found a way to get a handle on them, vaccinations, especially when it came to at least the public schools. Last night, I was bumping around the internet and I came across this CBS News report, and I guess it was maybe confirmation bias because it was confirming what I thought was happening with all these new diseases, which are old diseases coming back like bell bottoms and butterfly collars. They're just back. Everything old is new again. And the things that we had conquered, so I thought we actually have not conquered, or now they're just unconquered. Because did you know that measles was considered eradicated in the year 2000? Eradicated. All the stuff we talk about, like homelessness, we can't eradicate. We could eradicate diseases. Eradicated in 2000, and now it's back with a vengeance.
Fall is fast approaching, which means flu season, and a probable uptick in cases of COVID. Of course, there's a vaccine for that, but there seems to be an epidemic of doubt among some Americans. We've asked our Dr. John LaPook for his diagnosis.
Thanks to all those shots in the arm, in the year 2000, measles in the United States was declared eliminated.
The CDC is warning about the rise in measles infections in the U.S. There have been 20.
But now it's coming back, with measles cases reported from California to Vermont.
I know, that's what I was saying.
One big reason, across the country in 2023, more families exempted their children from routine immunizations than ever before.
There's never been a better time in human history to tackle an infectious disease than today. There's so many things we can do, from vaccines to antivirals to antibiotics. And yet I am dumbfounded by the volume of anti-vax voices.
Dr. Howard Markel is a medical historian, retired from the University of Michigan. He's also an author and pediatrician.
Check this out, how history seemingly keeps repeating itself. We've been here before.
Dr. Markel says vaccine hesitancy is as old as the United States. In the 1700s, when smallpox was ravaging the colonies, some people were given an early form of immunization called variolation.
You went to a doctor who had this infectious material, dried pus and detritus of smallpox scars and so on, and then they would cut you open, make a slice of your arm, and inoculate, put it in your arm. And half of the people got really sick, and some of them died. So it cost a lot, and it was dangerous.
But the people who recovered, they were immune.
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin decided it was too dangerous for his sickly 4-year-old son, Frankie.
One of Franklin's...
Wait. Benjamin Franklin's son was named Frankie? He was Frankie Franklin?
Little egotistical, huh?
Did I hear that right?
Benjamin Franklin decided it was too dangerous for his sickly 4-year-old son, Frankie.
Yep.
One of Franklin's great regrets was that he did not get his son inoculated, instilled with smallpox virus to prevent what ultimately killed him.
He went to his grave regretting that.
Absolutely.
In the 1800s, as a much safer smallpox vaccine was developed, many cities and states started requiring smallpox vaccination. At the University of California at Berkeley in 1902, it was mandatory.
What was the reaction here at Berkeley about a century ago when students were forced to get vaccinated against smallpox?
They were up in arms about it, and people in town cheered them on.
Professor Elena Konis is a medical historian at UC Berkeley. In 1905, the Supreme Court ruled the government has the authority to require vaccination.
Ooh, imagine that today, how that would go over. Wow.
This, importantly, had the effect of energizing a lot of anti-vaccine groups. And the anti-vaccine groups at the time believed that they were defenders of individual liberty.
But by the 1950s, there was one thing that united Americans: their fear of polio.
The 3-year statistics run 50,000 polio cases, 103,000 cases, 122,000 cases. Where will it end?
The idea that your child would be paralyzed or worse, condemned to an iron lung, this giant tank where your head's sticking out and that's how you breathe for the rest of your life, that terrified people.
An historic victory over a dread disease is dramatically...
When Dr. Jonas Salk invented the polio vaccine, he was considered a hero.
And the entire world heralded the discovery which assured an end to one of mankind's most dread diseases.
Here's the thing about polio. There are a lot of people still living today who suffered from polio. It's not like smallpox where we don't have a personal reference point. Smallpox is probably pretty abstract. It's not like you can say, oh yeah, dad had smallpox. No, but there are a lot of people who say, yes, I had polio, or my mother or grandparent had polio, people that you've met and coexisted with in this life. But now it's like polio's back. It's like, no big deal. Measles back. No big deal. We don't need to worry about it. I don't trust Big Pharma. I get it. I understand why you don't trust Big Pharma. I just don't understand why people don't love their fellow brother, their fellow American more. And that's more rhetorical than anything. I mean, we could do something about measles and polio and all these other infectious diseases because they've already invented vaccines that have been tested the world over for decades and decades. I mean, it's not like this stuff ain't hard. We just have to have some common sense. But, as they say, common sense ain't all that common.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And before we get to your weekly horoscope, I want to remind you that it's Halloween time at the Disneyland Resort. I had just come back from that about 2 weeks ago, and it is great. You'd have a great time at Disneyland right about now. It's Halloween time at the Disneyland Resort, and KFI AM 640 wants to give you a chance to experience the frightful fun. A Happiest Halloween has brought fiendishly tasty treats, thrills for one and all, and beautiful decor to both Disney California Adventure Park and Disneyland Park. Now through, of course, Halloween, October 31st. What you need to do is keep on listening to KFI for your chance to win a 4-pack of 1-day, 1-park tickets to the Disneyland Resort. Now, of course, you always listen to KFI. I'm just saying it might be in your best interest to set aside particular time to specifically and intentionally listen to Later with Mo Kelly. I can't tell you anything more than that. I'm just putting it out there just in case you might find a desire to end up at Disneyland sometime in the near future. That's all I'm saying. Let's get to the horoscope. And here is your weekly horoscope for this week. Have deep conversations with partner, and it's a good time for career zodiacs. Now, let's start off with Aries. This week gives you, Aries, a lot of energy and enthusiasm at work. You could be in charge of big projects or step out in brave new ways. But be careful about what you say, because rash words could lead to misunderstandings. When it comes to relationships, patience is key to keeping the peace. Man, that's just about for everybody.
Yeah. No, that's just for Aries.
That's how you know these things are accurate.
My goodness.
You'll see the difference. Keep going.
Misunderstandings, let me tell you. Taurus, this week, stability and safety are important, especially when it comes to money. If you look around, you might find new ways to make more money. When you're in love, now is the time to strengthen your feelings without being too possessive. Take care of yourself first to handle the week's demands.
See? Different.
Okay, we'll see. Gemini, Mark Ronner. You, Mark Ronner, will be more creative and interested in learning new things. With new ideas and teamwork, things are likely to get more exciting. Personal relationships will get stronger if you spend time with other people and have deep conversations. Mark, make time to rest for your mental health.
Sound advice. Nobody else could have given me that advice. I really appreciate the specificity.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Cancer, this week, your feelings might be stronger, which could make you more aware of what's going on around you. Your nurturing side is strong right now, so now is a great time to spend time with family and friends. When it comes to your career, finish up tasks that you've been putting off before taking on new ones. Leo, this week you'll do great at work and in social situations. People will respect your leadership skills, and you just might get credit for your hard work. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you are in love, having a heart-to-heart talk could make your relationship even stronger.
Only for Leos. Yes.
Okay. Virgo, you are very good at analyzing things this week, which makes it a great time to set your thoughts and tasks in order. You can be successful at work if you pay attention to the little things. Take a more practical approach to any problems that are still going on in your relationships. Don't think too much. Just trust the process. Elmer, you're a Libra, correct? Okay, that's
yes,
a thumbs up. Oh, I have to translate for the audience.
You know it's radio, right?
Yeah, I am a Libra.
So in other words, if I don't acknowledge your thumbs up, people just think you're just ignoring me.
I'm not. I'm never.
Okay, you can see me, but they can't see me. I can see you, but they can't see you or your thumb.
I'm starting to understand the radio now.
Not so much a visual medium, it turns out.
I love it.
Libra, Elmer. This week, Elmer, balance is the word. You will have to balance work, relationships, and your own goals. Set priorities for what matters to keep from getting too busy. When it comes to love, being honest with each other will help clear up any confusion. Well, yeah, of course. Okay, lies are not going to.
No, but this is specially crafted for love.
No. Keep
Libras
things
and
hidden.
For Elmer.
Right.
Just don't tell the truth.
The truth is never the best option.
You are.
The cover up is only worse than the crime is if you get caught.
Spare the other person. Spare them.
What type of horoscope downers are you?
Oh, I left the horoscope. I was just giving him some sage advice. The horoscope says keep your feet on the ground and be mindful. No, F that. Do what you need to do to make it through the knife safely, okay? And telling your woman about all the stuff that you've been doing is not ever going to bring peace in your relationship. Don't let her go through your phone. Oh, that's me.
Don't listen to this, Elmer. Trust your horoscope.
Okay. All right, Tawala, Scorpio, trust your horoscope. This week could bring strong feelings and big insights. You might want to think about yourself and grow as a person. Mm-hmm.
Did you hear, Tawala, how he emphasized the first syllable of horoscope?
Yeah, I did. That was intentional. He didn't catch it. It's okay.
Sick.
When it comes to your career, stay away from power struggles and office politics. Now, that is true. Being open and honest can help you build stronger relationships with people you like, but don't keep too many things from them. What's with this honesty and openness?
This is right on time for me. I needed this. Thank you.
All right, Sagittarius, this is me. Mo, you might want to see more of the world, whether that means traveling or reading. Well, yes, that's true. When it comes to your career, now is the time to take calculated risks, but not make hasty choices. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm quitting. I'm leaving KFI.
This is not what it says.
Well, I know, but half the audience went, yay, he's
No, but that would be hasty.
Okay. All right. Then don't be hasty. All right. Your partner, as in my wife, will be inspired by your desire to try new things. Hey, I want to get her to do that thing now.
Careful.
Well, I'm going to ask. You know, you never know until you ask.
Alcohol helps.
Her or me?
Mark, what?
Finally, right on time.
Me, actually. Give it to the third party.
Ooh, you had to make it weird. You had to make it weird.
Oh, man.
Your partner will be inspired by your desire to try new things, but don't forget to think about what they need to do. You're damn right. There's some things that never. Okay, Capricorn. This week, your hard work and determination will pay off, especially in your career. You'll probably be praised for your work. It's important to be patient and not let small disagreements get worse in personal relationships. When it comes to money, you may need to plan carefully. Aquarius, this week, you might really want to be free and try new things. Right now is a great time to think outside the box, especially at work. In relationships, it's important to stay your own person while being in a partnership. When you talk to people you care about, keep an open mind, whatever that means. Pisces, this week you should focus on healing your emotions and thinking about yourself. In other words, be selfish. Your intuition will be stronger, which will help you make smart choices in both your personal and professional life. Instead of trying to escape problems, you should face them head on. When it comes to love, being kind will bring harmony.
Here.
Sound advice.
Here.
If you say so. Yeah.
Here, the crowd is.
I think it's better to keep things away because,
No, Mo.
Don't tell the truth. Hide the truth.
Mo.
Hide it all.
Do not allow yourself to be led astray by not following your horoscope this week.
My horoscope said to try new things.
I'm saying don't be led astray.
So in other words, don't try new things?
No, I'm saying do what you need to do. Follow this, but don't be all crazy with it. That's what it says. It
said to try new things.
But don't be hasty.
So, okay, then I will very slowly and calmly go to my wife and make an indecent proposal.
Be sure to report back on that, too, by the way.
Yes.
We're going to need to hear the ending.
Well, I'm not Robert Redford, and I don't have $1 million, so I think we'll be okay.
In fact, you're both correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, look, we talked about Robert Redford because last week I told Mark, hey, you need to see this Robert Redford movie, Sneakers. Robert Redford. See, and he said he didn't care for it. Oh. He tried to rip it to shreds. It just reaffirmed he doesn't know anything about movies. That's what it really comes down to. It's Robert Redford, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, Mary McDonnell.
You want to get into this? I'll get into it. But
No. We have to go to break. Lucky you. KFI AM 640. Oh. Are you in a rush, Number? Got somewhere to go? You're just going to cut me off? No, we're going to wait an extra 10 seconds now. Damn that. 1001.
Make sure you're all the way finished.
Okay. All right. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
We're not here to make up your mind. We're here to give you the latest.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere.